fluff on that. It's just a big ball of fluff. Hello, I'm Katrina Walser from Oliphant and I am a knitting teacher and designer based in Sydney in Australia. And I'm here today with a bit of a vlog for you. So, I have been wanting, no that's a lie actually. I haven't wanted to work with mohair for a really long time. I've seen people use it a lot and I was never really that drawn to it. It seemed, I just couldn't see what the fuss was about it. It just seemed like it made things fuzzy. But then my friend Astrid, who is Waddle and Wool on Instagram, she posted a picture of a beanie that was super, super pretty, and it was made from mohair and just regular sock yarn held together. And it seemed like a good chance to finally try mohair for once. So I figured that I would blog a little bit or vlog or whatever about my experiences with using mohair for the first time, just in case anyone else is interested in finding out what it's like, because I am very curious to see if it is worth the hype. So I am going to be making this beanie out of one strand of 100% superwash merino from by Corolla Down Under, and one strand of mohair silk lace from Louie and Lola. So they're both Aussie dyers. Erica from By Corolla Down Under is in Sydney and Louie and Lola are based in Tasmania. So it will be interesting to see how these colours come together. So let's just focus on the mohair for a sec. So this is 72% kid mohair, 28% mulberry silk. So I think that from what I've heard, silk is pretty common to be mixed in with the mohair. It is 420 meters in 50 grams. So technically I think it's a lace weight or a 2-ply. And the color is Olive Grove. So hopefully that's showing up on camera color-wise. I was thinking of winding them into one ball together, but I don't actually know how much the beanie is actually going to use. So, and I don't want to get to a point where I have leftovers and these two yarns are essentially stuck together in one wound up ball. So I think I'm just going to wind them separately and then hold them together while I'm actually knitting. So I'm going to go wind these up and we will start knitting with them. So I feel like I should explain a little bit. The problems I was having with winding the yarn were totally not the yarn's fault. My Swift actually sits a little bit too close to the wall, so I can get away with it most of the time, but in lighter weight yarns I sometimes have issues. So really I should just move my Swift. But we got it done in the end. Hello. So I made my swatch last night and I was pretty naughty. Don't do this, but do it if you want to. I made it tiny because I didn't want to waste the yarn. So this is my very small swatch. Hang on, it'll be easier to show you on the table. So here it is. It is about 3 inches, 3.5 inches wide and like almost 2 inches tall. But I measured the row gauge and the stitch gauge and did the math to figure out how much it would be spread over 4 inches, which is what the gauge is given at. And it's almost right. It's a little bit too many stitches and too few rows. So I think if I go up a needle size to get the stitch count right, it'll make the row gauge really off. Plus I was naughty and I swatched flat, even though you meant to swatch in the round, because I never swatch in the round. I can't be bothered. So I think I'm just going to go with it and we'll see how it pans out. So I'm going to start on the ribbing. So this beanie starts with a provisional cast on, which is why I have the random pink yarn and a crochet hook. And you end up having to pick up the provisional stitches and unpick them. And I was worried that it would get quite tangled up with the mohair being so fuzzy, but it turned out that it was okay. So that was a win in my book. And I'm actually watching my husband playing video games, which is why I keep pausing to look up. Hello, so my beanie's going pretty well. I did the whole brim and then I've done quite a bit of I've done the first pattern repeat. So it's looking pretty good, but I wanted to show you this. It's pretty funny. Apparently you should not wear black while you are working with mohair. Look at my shirt. It looks like what I imagine having a small puppy dog is like. Isn't that funny? Apparently this stuff sheds, which I shouldn't be surprised about, but there you go. Hi, I wanted to just give a quick update on how it's going. So I have gotten to basically the end of the straight section. So I'm about to start the decreases. So here we are. And it's looking super pretty. Ta-da! So this is the mohair, obviously, mixed with the white stuff, and it is, yeah, I don't know if those colors are going to show up, but isn't it pretty? It's just got these lovely little speckles of blue and like browny gold, and they're so subtle. So I think because the mohair is so fine compared to the fingering weight yarn or the 4-ply yarn, the color is just like really, really subtle, and I really like it actually. It's super pretty. And what else was I going to tell you? Yeah, so the frogging hasn't actually been as bad as I thought it would be. That's the only real concern I had with this. I heard that it can be a bit of a pain to frog, and it was a little yucky when I was making my swatch because I did have to undo several rows, so that didn't work out so nicely. But I found, because I haven't really been that careful with this as I've gone, I've been like making mistakes as I went. But I found that if I caught them pretty quickly and then I undid it straight away, it was actually fine. So I think the main problem with frogging is if you make a big mistake a while ago and you have to undo a lot. But I think if you're just checking as you go and you catch your mistakes quickly, I get the feeling the fibers don't have enough time to like cling to each other that much. I don't know, maybe I'm making things up. But if you just tink back a little bit, and it was just after you knit it, I think it's okay because I haven't really had any problems taking it out. And if there was anything that was going to be a pain to frog, it would be something like this, because it's all twisted stitches and cables. So the fibers are really going to like twist around each other. So yeah, that's working out well. So I'm going to do the decreases and it should go pretty quickly from here. So I am excited to have my beanie. I figured I would show you what it looks like to actually knit with this stuff. So this is just one of the decreases. You do a double decrease to start the round. And then I actually don't print patterns out. I just sit there with my iPad or with my phone and read the pattern off of there. And it was really funny watching this back actually, because I don't remember the knitting process for this beanie being painful at all, but watching some of the stitches that I was doing, it looks like it would be a little bit slow at points. I think because catching both strands of the mohair and the fingering weight yarn for every stitch, and see, like here, sometimes it was hard to make sure that your needle was getting through both strands of yarn correctly, especially because it's all twisted stitches throughout the beanie.
So something like this stitch in particular, like that took ages just to finish off. But it wasn't too much of a problem. I think there would just be the occasional stitch where it could be a bit painful depending on how tightly I had pulled the yarn in the previous round. I finished! Ta-da! Isn't it pretty? Oh, it's so fuzzy. And that cable, the way it decreases is just really like, hang on, how do I hold this up? The way the cable decreases is really cool. It comes to a point. So I have tried it on and it's nice because you can wear it either slouchy or with the brim folded up, so it's quite tight. I don't really know which way I'm going to wear it more, but I'm going to block it first and I will show you what it looks like after I block it. I think what I'm going to do is I'm only going to block the top part with the cable and the texture because I don't really want to block the ribbing because I find ribbing gets a bit stretched out after you block it. And you can do this thing where you take some cotton yarn and you thread it through the ribbing to try and like keep it more together while you block it, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to dunk the top half in some water and then press the water out and block it over a balloon, and we'll see how that works. If you've never blocked a beanie over a balloon before, I would highly recommend it. It's the easiest way to get your beanie to dry in a nice round shape. My one tip is that your head isn't actually as big as you think that it is. So just pop the balloon inside and then blow it up until it looks about right. Don't try and make it as big as your head.
Hooray, I have a beanie! So here she is. I promise it didn't take a month to actually dry. I just didn't take any video of me wearing it until now. So, my final thoughts on mohair. I came into this wondering if the mohair was worth the hype, and personally my answer is no, actually. And there are quite a few reasons for it, and all of them are personal. So, first off, this yarn is beautiful. There's no denying how gorgeous it is. I will say that when I first got it in the skein, I was surprised at how it didn't feel as soft as I thought mohair was meant to feel. But once you hold it double with something, it is actually very, very soft. So if you buy some and you're wondering why it isn't quite as pillow-like as everyone goes on about, just wait until you've actually knitted with it. So I do see the appeal. It makes for very, very warm items without any weight. Because all of the fuzz is so lightweight, but it's all there, it makes things really, really warm. So this beanie, it was about 500 grams. 50 grams. It was about 50 grams at the end of the day. This is how much yarn I have left. And it's very warm and very lightweight and super, super soft. And Astra did a really good job of making a beautiful design. So I think she really shows off the mohair quite nicely because the cable and the stitches really take advantage of the fuzziness because you can still see a pretty strong pattern even though it's quite fuzzy. I think I just don't love fuzzy yarn as much as other people. So there are some designs that I think use mohair really interestingly. Something like the As If Tee, where there are panels of mohair and panels of just regular sock yarn so that the mohair panels look quite sheer. I could see myself making something like that. But just adding a strand of mohair to a regular jumper pattern, I don't think I would do it. Because I don't personally love the fuzz as much as everyone else does. And if I did want something to be warm, I would just use thicker yarn. I think that if I was going to make a whole jumper with this stuff held double, it would just be a little too cost prohibitive. So I will say that if you are looking to get into this and you want to make a whole garment, I would just suggest getting either a commercial sock yarn and a hand-dyed mohair, or vice versa. But I think that it's nicer to do the mohair hand-dyed because that makes it a bit extra special. So yeah, I think those are my final thoughts. I'm glad I did it once, and I will definitely find some good use for this. Probably, maybe I will just make an as if tee. But other than that, I think I may just give it a pass, and that's okay. Different people have different preferences. You don't need to hop onto every trend train that comes around. If you don't like something, go find something that you like doing, because there are too many things in the world to knit for you to make things that you don't actually like. But again, this yarn is beautiful. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just me. So definitely go check out Louie and Lola. They make beautiful yarn. They also have non-mohair stuff if you are like me and you just want to get some regular sock yarn, which I think I will do actually, because this colorway is gorgeous and I want to see what it looks like in a normal sock yarn base. The pattern is free. I don't know why. We keep trying to tell Astrid that she should charge for it, but she is releasing it for free. So I will put a link to all of her socials down below. I don't know when it's actually coming out, so just go follow her on Instagram if you want to see when the pattern comes out, because it is beautiful and gorgeous and a lot of fun to knit. So I'm really glad that I gave this a shot, because it's really good to try things at least once. And if you would like to see any more of these styles of videos, I have a knitting diary of my first time trying colour work, so I will link to that here. And if you have anything else that you think I should try for the first time that you'd like to watch me vlog about, then let me know down in the comments, and I will talk to you in a couple of weeks' time. But until then, happy knitting!